morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Bob. Hmm. Well, oh, mm, this is the flip flop time, right? And just take a look at what's going on in the world. Flip flop, flip flop. You know, everyone's on one side saying, "Oh, look what you know oligarchy of American hegemony has done to the Ukraine, and that's kind of set all this up the last 8 years. But Putin's reading the script because 8 years ago he could have taken care of this without having to go through all of this carnage. But this carnage is good. It's like distraction. People are like, ooh, glued to their TV sets and they're not watching what's happening to their own country. Australia, again, Russia and Ukraine is a large grain producer, but Australia is too, and they're having floods there. I live there; they always have floods, but these were, man-made electromagnetic floods. Kind of. I don't want to say HARP because it's other electromagnetic devices that are doing this, and very quickly we're going to have food shortage throughout the planet. Um, Places like Africa and Asia are going to have millions of people die. Same with um, you know North Africa and the Mid East. And what's the unexpected consequences? Saudi Arabia and all the other rich Arabians who hooked up with Israel, they're going to have all this grain in silos, for the next 7 years or already. But they're going to have find funguses growing in them, and they're not going to tell anybody about it, and because you can't really tell, and people will eat them, and that fungus will get inside of people and create. You think SARS is bad? Ooh, baby. So along with people's exposure to SARS and this virus, you put it together, it's going to be one uh, living uh, Day of the Dead. So, and that's going to really hit um, the A and Saudi Arabia and all those guys. And the people who are going to survive are going to be the poorest people on the planet, pretty much. Right? And that'll be quite interesting. And the United States and Russia will lob a few nukes at each other, just like Pakistan and India will lob a few nukes at each other, and just like China um, and China will lob nukes at each other. Hey, Jenny. And so this is all going to happen before the 4th of July. And so there'll probably be close to, I don't know, maybe 300 million people dead before the 4th of July. And, we have a population of 9 billion, give or take. So a few 100 million, not so big a deal. But where it's going to happen is going to be pretty amazing. That the Uber, the people of Brazil who are poor, they'll survive. People of Africa who are really poor, they'll survive. Mid East, they'll survive. All the rich companies, not companies, and say that's what they are. They're companies, not states. And then the aliens will show up and say, "Okay, kids, we've been, you are our children, and we gave you free will, and we let you try to figure it out for the last 16,000 years." But we been watching, and so we're going to intercede here. It's like a family intervention, and you still have your everything, but we're going to tell you exactly what it is, so you can get on the right page, and we'll take over, and we'll give you everything. We'll clean up all these pestilence and wars and all this death, and we will take half of the population off the planet and put them in other beautiful, kumbaya, gorgeous Disneyland places, and don't get on that flying saucer because to serve man, it's a cookbook, so it's going to be interesting. Just go watch V. That was first in the 70s, 80s, and then the remix was in the 90s. That one's quite good. And Gene Roddenberry's Final Conflict, that's quite good. And make up your own mind and come back here. From now on, come back and bring some questions to me. Because I go back and look at these shows the last few weeks, since, Thanksgiving. And, when I was at John and I could get into long 6-hour shows, I could get into rips and storytelling, but here on the Bop, not so much. I can go on for about 20 minutes and then I got to move on. So anyway, come with questions. Come on. I'm an asset. I'm a resource. Come on. Come with questions. AI, bring me questions. Come on. Corporate world, come. I'll work for you. I'm ready for. I spent since 2014. Get my body back to where I can survive. I'm in homeostasis. And I've been reading and writing a lot, so I have a lot of perspectives that you could use. And I'm my strong sets, my talents, and I'm always here to serve when the price is right, right? So Jeffy Bezos, you want to buy out Griot Publishing and turn it into Griot Mercantile Media, we can do that. You want to set up some nonprofits so I can bring the word around to colleges, that'll fit your business plan. And there's nothing wrong with any of it. It is when it gets so caught up in the egocentric death to disco that really is counterproductive, right? So, the difference between good and bad is so subjective, So, just look at what's going on in the Ukraine. That's the ultimate of subjective good and bad. And because it's not good for either of the two parties involved, it's just the outside folks who are, pulling strings and pushing buttons that are making the money. And so, and Vlad really must be getting a big paycheck because, like I said, if he really was interested in taking care of business, he would have taken care of it back in 2004. He would have taken care of it back in 2008, just like the Chinese did. They didn't go, oh, they pivoted and made a good decision. It's the fact that they didn't go all the way and give the people a real skin in the game instead of just having them save their money in their piggy bank. So, what can I say other than I love you, Jane? Thanks for everything, and all you folks who put stuff in my PayPal. Thank you very much. I could use some more now. I'm like, it's. I'm trying to fix my car, trying to fix me, trying to get the lodge ready for this, spring and summer. And these are all come and visit. If you're in Canada, come on over, stay with me. I have a really beautiful place. We could take some road trips and have a lot of fun. I know people in every place that would be glad to put us up for a night here and a night there and a week here and a month there. We could truly get the band back together. So I'm up for it. Anybody wants to do it, I'm up for it. Remember, get a hold of me at the dudewake42 at gmail, dudewake42 at gmail. Anybody want to send me their palm, picture of their palm, from here to their finger, here to the hand they write with. Nice, well-focused, close-up image of that. I'll, give you a reading. And send it to me at the dudewake42 at gmail. No one has. You'll be amazed. I mean, not no one, but very few. Oh, and come on, throw something in my pay mail. I have to thank all the folks who are very, every month throw in a little something. If 10 or 20 people could do that, just a little something, I'd be fine. But God is always good and always taken care of. I always live like a millionaire, but I need a little bit more if I want to step up. Right? I can stay here in the woods and just grow moss, but it's time for me to step out. So anyway, that's my little to you guys. I hope you're well. Hope you enjoy the on the bop dynamics I have going on. And Anthony, how you doing? I'm going to give you a call right now. Want to join the show? I just want to. Just went to Skibbereen. Oh, good man. What did you find? I'm calling you right now. You can tell the story of Skibbereen. I'm calling Anthony as we speak right now. Come on, Ant. Pick up the phone. Anthony. Pick up the phone. There he is. Hey, baby. So what was Skibbereen like?
Hey. It's good to hear from you.
Did they put a bowling alley in?
I'll just turn the stream off.
Yeah, turn the stream off.
Say it again. Did they have a
bowling alley and a mall? Did they put a mall and a bowling alley in Skibbereen yet?
I didn't see one. I saw a lot of things, but I didn't see a bowling alley in a mall.
Right.
It still felt very ancient to me. Yeah, I was at right now I'm near I think it's called Kilniccolly.
Yeah, Kilkenny. Yeah, right.
Kilniccolty.
Yeah, Kilkenny. Yeah.
Yeah, and going more west to Skibbereen, the energy really became very old. It was really a beautiful energy.
Did you find any of the? Did you find any of the?
We both felt that.
Did you find any of the beehive houses?
What do you mean by that?
Well, there are these almost Stone Age houses that are made out of stone, and the guys would build. They would be circular and usually about 30 foot across, and they would have a stone floor, stone walls, and they had not windows, but holes in them, and they'd throw the garbage out the window. And when the garbage got up to coming in through the window back, they would build in another floor and fill in around it. So these things were, between 10 and 20. Oh, thunder. You hear that?
Yeah.
I'm on top of a mountain, and a big storm is coming in. If it really rolls in, I'm going to bail. But until then, we'll keep talking. So anyway, they had these, and then the roofs would be made out of straw. And they throw right.
Yeah.
And so they had these houses all over the place that are like that. And they were close, like all the sacred places are near the dumps, because the Romans would come and defile the Celtic sacred druids by throwing their garbage on their sacred sites. So you can find the sacred sites by find where the garbage dump is. And the other interesting thing is there are pyramids all up and down the west coast. So are you heading towards Galway?
Well, right now we're back at the place near Kilmacolty, I think
Right,
it's called.
right.
But Skibbereen's just 20 minutes away.
Did you go to the town I lived in?
We can visit wherever we want, but tell me where to go, Al. I need your wisdom, your guidance.
Well, so there's a town called the Skibbereen. No, what's it called? I just had it on the tip. It's where I lived. It's a little teeny fishing village right on the west coast. It's called. It's between Skibbereen and Galway, right? And it's Glendore. Right? Write that down. Glendore.
Oh, yes, yeah, I've heard of this. Maybe I've been driven through it. Let me have a look.
It's right on the coast, and it's right off the coast highway. So have they turned the coast highway into a super highway?
No, not really. I mean, the roads are very wide, I've noticed.
Right.
But it doesn't feel very developed at all. It still feels very, very ancient.
Right.
Quaint, which I'm very happy about.
So did you make it to the Ring of Kerry? Because it's right near Skibbereen.
Yeah. Well, we went to Mizzen Head.
Yeah.
You know Mizzen Head?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we drove all the way to the end of the first finger.
Right.
And we might go and see some more. We went to the Mizzen Head, and then we went back up a different way. We came back via, I don't know, we came back on an inland road instead of the coastal road.
Right.
Okay, Glandor. I see where you mean now.
Yep. And so between Glendore and Skibbereen, there'll be the road that goes, and the mountains come, there aren't really super duper high mountains, but the highest plains on the west coast come down and meet Glendore, right? And so between Glendore and Skibbereen, there are a number of roads that go off to the right that go up into those hills, right?
Yeah.
And that is where the old Crone's farm was.
Oh, wow. Have you heard of Rena Screena?
What is that?
Well, it's just a town that we drove past on the way back, and it looks like it's sort of up in the hills.
Well, that's a place. That's a place to go look, because there are about 4 or 5 roads that go really sharply up into those hills, right? And you look, it's like mountain on one side, cliff on the other, and the ocean is down off the edge of the cliff. And there's 4 or 5 of those roads, maybe up to 10. And if you went up one of them, and at the top is this little town that is basically a pub, post office, general store.
Yeah.
And I think they advertise themselves as the highest pub in Ireland. They're like on top of a mountain.
Oh. Okay.
So these are all so if you found that pub at the highest, thing, and it was also a general store and a post office, then you'd know you're in the right general direction. But again, the old Crone's place was a not something of this temporal motif. You know what I mean? Because when I went back, so I 1968 is when I met her, and she took me up there, and I spent a month and a half there, right? And then I came back to New York, and then I went back and visited her like 8 months later, and then went back and visited her another 8 or 9 a year later. And then I met my wife, and we tried to find her, and it wasn't there, Don. And it wasn't there.
Yeah. I was just listening to the original Old Crone video with John, just in the car, just to recap my memory.
All right. Well, that's good. And so that's what I'm talking about. And that whole West Coast has pockets of these dimensional rifts. right?
Yeah,
They're gateways, you know.
Well, we visited Drombeck Stone Circle, which is near Glandor.
Right.
We did that a couple of days ago, which was incredible. You know, a real stone circle with a few little, you know, some of those beehive houses, whatever you call them, scattered around next to it. And one of the stone circles has a spring inside, has these two little fairy ponds in the middle of it.
Yep.
Which was, you know, and then overlooking the sea. It was very magical.
Yep. I'm seeing exactly what you're talking about. The name escaped me, but I see that was right near Glendor. You know, we used to go up there, you know.
Yeah.
And,
oh, wow.
And if you went to the Glendor and you went to ask where the female doctor is, right, or massage therapist, that was a lady who I almost married. And if you went and met her, she'd be about my age. And if she had a black son, well, that's the lady.
Oh wow, that sounds like a mission I'll have to complete.
Yep. Especially since you're right there, you know. It would be interesting to see.
Yeah.
What?
That's in Glendor.
That's in Glendor, right in that town. Yep. And that was about 1988.
Yeah. Okay.
And she really wanted me to marry her and me to still be there with her, you know. And I just said, and you know, and precipitated a little argument. And then as soon as she got upset, I said, well, I obviously don't make you happy, and I went. So it would be interesting to see, because the first 4 months were bliss. It was just, you know, I learned the key of relationship, and that is to never think about the future or the past. Just do your best in the moment and and always be magnanimous to the other person. You do that, it always works out. The only one little problem is that unless you can truly always be honest, because when you're being magnanimous like that and you're riding the wave of being your best, there are little bumps, and you should always deal with little bumps, because then they become, you know, worse, and then they become the things that cause, you know, the crack of the relationship. And I would bet you if you were to find that lady and she, you know, has the black son, and that's how you kind of ask people. So there was a woman here, was kind of a doctor, kind of physical therapist, kind of a massage therapist, and she had two black sons. Well, one was a nephew and one was her son. And if anyone remembered, I mean, those, you know, there are only white people there then, and so that would be a remembrance. But I would bet you, you know, that almost no one would remember it if she wasn't there now. If she's still there, yes, they would remember it. And if she was still there and you asked her about Al, you know, the guy from New York, I would almost bet you she would get this like stink eye look and say, I don't know what you're talking about. Or she would go, oh yes, my lover boy, you know, that, because that would be the two ways it would go.
Yeah.
But that would be, and I would pick. Is it sunny there now that you're there?
No, it was sunny on the first day, and actually the first 2 weeks that we spent in England together, it was 20 degrees, very warm, very sunny.
Right.
And now it's about 15 degrees, still quite warm, but it's been cloudy, raining.
Right. And the West Coast is more the sunny coast. You know, the East Coast is the gray, cold, dank North Sea, whereas the West Coast is the Gulf of Mexico, you know. So have you spotted palm trees on the West Coast?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of palm trees. I like palm trees, so I noticed.
So isn't that's pretty? Most people can't believe there are palm trees in Ireland, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's the coconuts come along on the Gulf of Mexico and come across shore,
Yeah.
and they kind of take seed, and yeah, I mean, I love the west coast of Ireland. It's my favorite. And like I said, there are
Yeah.
a lot of dimensional vortexes there.
Yeah. Well, are there any where are these pyramids? Are they like can I research these, or is it
Yes, you
you know,
can.
is this
There is
hidden knowledge?
no. If you really wanted, there is one site kind of in the middle of Ireland, and it's really advertised as a tourist attraction, right? And it is,
Yeah.
and they call it a burial mound. So no one in Ireland wants to call it.
Oh.
No one wants to call it a pyramid, but wherever
Okay.
there's
Well,
a
I've seen
burial
burial
mound,
mounds on signs
yes,
today, so
exactly.
maybe that's what it was.
That's wherever you find a burial mound, that's the nudge, nudge, wink, wink of the pyramid, right? And there's this really big
Yeah.
one that they unearthed kind of outside of Dublin, but a little further. It's like about the big highway that goes to Northern Ireland from Dublin. If you go up that, maybe,
Okay.
oh, I don't know, 100K.
Oh, do you mean New Grange? The
Yes.
big.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's it. Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Well,
anyway,
we're going to go visit that.
right.
Yeah.
And so you go take that, and there, and it's like off of that, the main drag by another 40K. And there's some really nice little towns that have bed and breakfasts that are nice. And I bet you they're even nicer now. So anyway, you go into that place. And so I went there, and I was brought, the last time I went to Ireland, I was brought there by some rich people who wanted to buy real estate. And they knew I had been there a lot and knew it. And that was 2005. And the last time I was in Ireland was in 88. And it had so
Yeah.
changed. I mean, 88 is when Ireland joined the EU. They signed the Maastricht Treaty.
Okay.
And it was like a light switch, right? And so anyway, we're go to this place, and I'm not feeling too good. And the girls get tickets, and we're on the tour, and then ladies, and now we move along, and this girl would go on and on about shit, and she knew nothing. She's just a girl who was reading a script. And we went into this thing, and they're calling it a burial mound, and I'm just want to throw up because it's a pyramid. It's not. It says it's like the pyramids in Giza. They didn't bury anybody there. It's a machine. It's an energy machine. Anyway, so I walk out, and I'm, like looking for a place to sit down in the sun. And I find this like little wall of stone, and I sit down and I smell the smell of marijuana. Really good stuff. And I'm looking around and I'm seeing nobody. And it's like I'm brought through the smell, and I kind of go down this path into the building to this metal gate, open the metal gate, go in, and there's this big guy, and he's sitting on a chair, his legs up in the desk, and he's smoking a joint. And I go, so you must be the boss. And he kind of nearly drops, and I said, so this is a pyramid, don't you? It's an energy. And he nearly chokes on the. He goes, who are you? And I said, well, I'm the old crone's apprentice, and Archie Bigelow was my teacher. I was his adept. Because Archie was my teacher. That's how I got this job. And that was it. We were like, buds.
Wow.
And, he gives me, we smoking, stuff. And he goes, let's, it's such a pretty day today. Let's go out. And we're still smoking. We both got blunts, and we go down on that thing, and we're smoking. And no one, because he is the boss, right? He is the boss, and everyone knows he smokes. So, we're smoking there in the sun and talking about this and that. And these ladies, the rich people, come by and get very upset. What are you doing? We thought you were alive. Blah, 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 blah. And the woman who was the guide who was trying to help them find me, we have another appointment. And the woman is like almost bowing, wanting to kiss her boss's ring. And she goes, I'm sorry, sir, I didn't know that you knew this man, and da 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 da. And And so she goes, "I'll leave you, ladies. He's the administrator. He's like the head anthropologist, archaeologist of Ireland. He's the dude." And
Yeah.
and she walks backwards, bowing and scraping, and the rich lady still doesn't even hear that. Just because I'm with him, he must be a lowlife too, right? And so he just starts talking. He says, well, I've never heard anything like this. You must be wrong. And this guy looks at me. He goes, how much is she paying you? And I said, a ridiculous amount of money. And so he goes, well, it better be. Anyway, so he goes, I got stuff to do. See you later. And he gives me his card and he says, stay in touch. And I did until he died. He keeled over because he was doing exactly what I did when I worked for the Desperate Warriors. He got to this point of looking for the truth. He was made the dude, and then he, no matter what he did, it didn't help. And so he just took the money and lived the most hedonist life he could, and he keeled over. And that's usually what happens, unless you've been set on a path that you can't get off. Meaning, I died in 2014. I was ready to, go on vacation, and my teacher said, "Well, that's nice, but no, you got to go back." What? Well, you have a free will. You can choose, but you signed this agreement with Bob that you were going to do this, this, and this. Now you've done 80%. You're doing great. We're going to send you back so you can finish up, so you can get off the karmic wheel. And they said, wouldn't you rather do that than be thrown back in the blender of karma? And who knows where you would pop out the next time? And I said, oh, I guess you're right. And so to pay for those 10 years of hedonism, I had to have 10 years of crawling back and 7 years of living with John. So, but that was okay. That was all good.
Yeah.
So anyway, you're in Ireland. I think I've
given many more adventures left inside of you.
Oh, I got a lot of adventures. You get your ass over here with your. So is the girl with you? Is she the one from America that you're gonna go over and see?
Yeah. She grew up in California, and now she's been living in Idaho. So yeah, after he's going back in a couple of weeks, and yeah, I'm gonna go back with her, I think.
Good.
And she actually wants to visit the Smoky Mountain.
Well, then
so we're already arranging a trip together. So we're gonna come and see you.
And then you know what we do? I take you to 10 of the most amazing places in America, and we will end up in July. And we will end up in July at the Rainbow Gathering.
Oh, yes. And where is this Rainbow Gathering?
Oh, this year it's going to be in Colorado. It's going to be the 50th anniversary.
Oh.
And I used to be,
cool.
I was one of the leading musketeers of that. And so I have all these old friends who go, oh, you got to come. So if you came, you would get the most amazing experience of the Rainbow Gathering.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. Well, we both love to go to Colorado also. I've been watching a lot of stuff about Colorado recently, actually. So that's
but I would, you come here, we would go to Asheville, North Carolina. I used to be the dude there. To Durham. We go to High Point and Durham. We go to Duke and UNC and High Point, and we would go up to DC, and then we go to New York. And there's still people, loads of places we could stay.
Yeah.
And we could hook up with the Purple people, who are a bunch of artists. Adam Purple's, novitiates, and we would. We could travel with them to Colorado, and we could stop off in Florida and in Mississippi and in New Orleans, and then go to Colorado, up through Texas. We could go through Texas, and so I could show you. I could be your esoteric guide through America.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all the time
Well,
we could be
amazing too.
in Chicago. I have loads of friends in Chicago, so we could hit all of those places, and you would meet the most frigging amazing people that you could go back, and we could do videos. We could start a whole new channel.
Yeah.
Dreamy Dreamland. But we could do something new with between you, that girl. What does that girl do? What does she do? What is her gig?
Well, she's had a very interesting life. She's kind of she grew up in California in the kind of this healing world, I guess, in the spiritual healing scene.
Yep.
And she doesn't have a regular job or anything like that, but she's very into healing, and she's wanting to set up
well, I'm the dude, I have all kinds of healing, experience for the last 70 years, So I've had some of the most, I was part of Theosophical Society, the Tool Society, U.S. Psychotronic Society, Wilhelm Reich's healing community, Rudolf Steiner, Gurdjieff, Ouspensky, all of the above. Is she there? Oh, that's good. She's very sensitive. So, is she right there with you?
Is she what?
Is she there next to you?
No, not right now.
Oh, okay.
She's just downstairs. But would you like me to ask her anything?
Well, I'd like to hear her voice. If you go get her and throw her on the phone, we could have a three-way. But if you don't want to do that, that's okay.
Might be a bit startled though.
Okay,
hey,
then.
Ash? You have to talk to Al Bob, do you? Okay. You should do a virtual palm reading or something.
Oh, well, you
okay, here she is.
Right.
Hello?
Hey there, Ashley, right?
Yes. Hello, Owl Bob.
Hi there, Ash. So I hear you're
Nice to meet you.
Have you seen my shows? Has Anthony showed you my YouTube channel?
Yes, I've seen a little bit of it.
Okay, so that's a good thing. So you're a double Cancer. That's a good thing. Cancer, probably most psychic sign there is. Can we put ourselves on camera? Let's see. I'm putting myself, switch to video call. I can do that. So can you see me?
No. Yeah, wait, swipe up.
Yep. Oh, there you are. Can you put your hand up like this so I can read your palm? No, don't wave it. Yeah, okay. And move it back just a little bit. Move it back a little bit towards you. Yeah, good. And let's see. So you're really close to the vest. You never let anyone know how you really feel. You are you're extraordinarily. I'm not a big fan. We're all intuitive, but being psychic, you have to be, almost a different thing than a human being to be really psychic. You can be intuitive, but Cancers are the closest thing there is to a psychic. And so you have a lot of that. And the thing about that in you is that it sometimes makes you feel nuts, and you feel judged, and you feel because you're picking up all these people's vibes, and you're feeling them, but you're not quite understanding them, right? And so it kind of, I don't want to say makes you passive aggressive, but it kind of puts you on edge. And so when you're on edge, people are you were like a radio, so you're sending out this energy, and it's like radar, because you send out this energy, people bounce it back to you, and if you were a little more trained, you could then really read